Hello, there it is, and welcome to the episode of Office Hours for this week, hosted by Sticks Intern. That's me. This week we have featuring our dearly beloved Bob Nothing with his wit and wisdom that he intends to drop on us. And hoping it's going to be a good show. We're just going to be shooting the shit a little bit and talking DeFi Kingdoms. Bob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, doing good. Glad you're doing great. Been a tumultuous time in the kingdoms over the past couple of weeks, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, I would say overall no, but it's been an interesting time in the kingdom. Some good, some bad.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I didn't mean any negative connotation by tumultuous. There's lots of things that people are talking about that they're not really talking about. Maybe controversial is better. Yeah, but we're going to get into some of that today. I hear you have very, I've put my thoughts out there on this whole summoning cooldown issue, and I know that's something that you jokingly said you didn't want to talk about, but it sounds like you have some things you do want to share with the community.
Well, I think we learned a lot in the last AMA. I did, at least. Maybe I was naive. Maybe I was the only one who didn't figure it out. But the first time they brought it up, I found it pretty uninteresting and, I don't know, a little annoying. Just kind of like, why are we dealing so much with like a suggestion box, basically, because we at that point we didn't really know what they were thinking behind it, and it was just like, hey, why don't we just throw this out here and see what happens? And that's kind of where they're at now. But it's a little more interested to me, knowing that it's not just a suggestion box entry. It's something that the team is interested in. But that being said, I also put a little tweet out there saying why I voted no, and posted a little blurb in the votes discussion and followed that for a little bit. And I hope that they take something positive. There's a lot of yelling at Bolon in there. Come on, guys, let's not do that. But I think there was some productive. I think there was some productive talk too.
Yes, I definitely. When I looked in there, I saw some productive talk and then a lot of just memes that seemed very off topic. So I think I just dropped a link to my tweet and then got out. So, any interesting thoughts that you saw in there that you didn't see elsewhere discussed or thrown about that you recall?
I mean, I kind of put out there, like, I don't know. It was kind of evasive. I thought that they were just like, hey, this thing just came up. Let's just talk about it. Blah, blah, blah. No agenda, no nothing, no reason. Just sometimes things happen. So I was kind of like, let's just, why don't you make a pitch if you think this is a good idea, like from the people who are in charge of designing these things. Like, and I think the reason for that is they would need to do that because we're talking about changing NFTs potentially if they go the route that was originally brought up, where summoning cooldowns are affected. That's basically changing the property, the tokens that we bought, under a certain parameter that we thought in our head was going to remain. So that's a problem. They would need the whole community to be behind them on that. Whereas I would say this is the second time dealing with the same issue. I mean, the last time, there have been two changes, big changes, with Jewel tokenomics and then dark summoning. And dark summoning was developed completely in-house because it's not changing our NFTs. It's just an added feature. So this time, it seems like they're just trying to just throw it out there and see what happens. And maybe everybody will rally around it and they can do the thing they want to do without any kind of backlash. That was kind of my take. And I was kind of like, I don't know. Can we just, make a pitch? If you think it's a good idea, I'm open to it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and it's interesting. The reason I voted yes was kind of because I was kind of like thinking the exact same thoughts. It's just like, yeah, make a pitch. Let's hear what you think. Don't just leave it vague. But it's interesting though that it's similar reasoning.
Well, the reason I voted no more so is just because of timing, just because of optics, just because I think this is probably just the worst possible time in the life of DFK to try to do something like this.
Really? Okay, I have a very different opinion on you than you on that. So let's
Okay.
dive into that. Why is this the worst time
I
in
mean,
the history, to
just
do this?
sentiment. I mean, it's a year, dude. It's May. Like a year ago, everything went down. We had to deal with, the team overexpanded. The team needed to reorganize, form Kingdom Studios, get down to the skeleton crew. Then there was the hack. Then there was a second, we needed Clayton. We needed parody. We needed Crystal Vale to do more than it was doing. We went through all this stuff. Then we get to the point where, this Gigapatch is, thinking, is it going to be by the end of the year? Is it going to be January? Is it going to be February? And like I said, my brother in Gaia, it is May. It's the second half of May. So like people are just kind of on edge, for that reason. And I get it. I don't know what a diamond contract is. It sounds complicated, and I get it. But like I think, now that we're there, like we've gone through all these hurdles that like diamond contract was the reason why we can't do travel, we can't do equipment, we can't do land, we can't do tournaments, we can't do all this stuff. Apparently, if you take them at face value, maybe there are multiple reasons, and they're just kind of just all saying it's diamonds contract's fault because we don't have it. So I think the focus should be just building momentum, because we've finally made it. And people are just kind of on edge. I've noticed. I've seen a lot of capitulation in the market. I've seen a lot of people just like throwing up their ox, like make me an offer in DGen Dungeon, like a lot. And Grady had a stream about it too. I watched most of it. I agree, and he gets apparently a lot of DMs about it. And I was just feeling that way. I'm like, now that we finally like passed this hurdle, why are we relitigating something like from the past that has already been dealt with once? And is it perfect? No, but is it? I think it's debatable whether it's broken. I think it's debatable whether it's even a problem. It's problematic for some people who basically are not the best at adapting to the market as it changes because of, hero inflation and such. I would say, it's debatable whether it's actually a problem and that this would even do much. But I think, the focus should just be on, now that we got there, let's go. Like, why not build on momentum? Why move backwards instead of forward? I mean, we're finally at the point, like a year later, where there's nothing in our way, according to what I know, listening to every MMA in the interim.
Yeah, okay. I respect that. Yeah, I think that's a very well reasoned position on why now is a terrible time. I actually think that you can't really get a much better time than right now to make a sweeping change like this, though, because after this whole year of waiting and delays, you have a very small community that remains. You have the people who are the most dedicated, the most bought in, not just from a money but from a time invested standpoint in the game. And that group is basically the smallest it's ever going to be if we assume the game is successful. It does build this momentum. And so if there is a problem with this summoning rate, if this is something that's going to be an issue in 2 to 3 years, or like on a short time frame like that, and yes, I do. I just for the viewers, I do consider that a relatively short time frame, 2 to 3 years. So if that is going to be an issue on that time frame, I do want to hear what they have to say about it now, while we can actually feasibly get the buy-in from the number of people that would be needed to make that kind of a change. And if it was, say, we developed that momentum more significantly, and then made a change like this, you'd have a bunch of people you'd have most of the community were in that recent buyers bucket who they just got in. And those are the people who I think would be most, negatively impacted or feel the most put out by such a big sweeping change. And that would really kill momentum a lot worse than doing it before the momentum even begins, which is where I feel we are.
See, I think the problem goes away if we're on the upswing.
You think people just won't care if they?
No. I think the problem goes away, and we don't need to do anything.
Okay, see, so that's what I would want. That's why I want to know more data, though, because I agree. If this is something that's like only a problem because of the small player base, then like just build a bigger player base. But if this is something that's going to be a problem, even if we had tens or hundreds of thousands of players, then I would like to know about it now, right? Before we get to that point.
Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm not convinced it's a problem. I think a lot of it kind of came to light, with players choosing to play the game just by spamming summons, and I don't have any problem with that. I just if it's within the parameters of the game and somebody just enjoys, summoning just a bunch and selling and keeping a little cash and just like inflating the here. I mean, as long as there's a market for it, I just don't think it's that big of a problem.
See, I don't think it's that those players that are the problem. It's just that every time a new Gen 1 10 of 10 is summoned, I did some like math that might be suspect earlier, but it came out to if you take the total number of summons that it can create and that all of its babies could create and divide it by 2 because each summon needs a partner, you get something like 87 and a half total heroes that are added to the theoretical hero pool just from that one Gen 1 10 of 10, each one that's created. And so I don't think it's a problem if people go and like buy up these higher generations or these non-Gen 0 summons. Right? If people are going and buying those and summoning with them, that doesn't really impact inflation. The real hero inflation rate is determined every time a Gen 0 pair makes a new Gen 1 10 of 10, because that's basically adding 87 and a half potential heroes to the pool every time the Gen 0s do that. And so that's why I think any change that's discussed would necessarily have to be to the Gen 0 rate. And like I think even leaving the other rates alone or even shortening them wouldn't have that big of an impact on the real inflation. It's all about that Gen 0 rate, limiting the creation of those Gen 1 10 of 10s, which is like dropping a hero bomb into the total pool.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I don't know. My thought is at the end of the game, at the end of the day, we're almost 2 years into this game, over a year and a half. Like they made the game they made. I think it's just too late is the ultimate thing, like to make this sort of a fundamental change, in my opinion. I think it's
I
just
mean, that's fair.
and
I think that's fair.
The fact that we have such a small number of deeply entrenched players, like, dude, nerds don't like change. Nerds rage. Nerds feel, emotional about this stuff. Like it's just a dangerous thing, I think, to make such a fundamental change. Like if it's like, I don't know, less than 90% that like actually want it, and I'm talking Gen 0 holders. Like I don't really care about non-Gen 0 hero holders' opinion on this if that's the change. Like honestly, that's my other thought. Like they shouldn't get to vote at all. Because I can't, I own everything but land. Am I going to get to vote if we need to nerf land at some point? Like obviously that's ridiculous. I wouldn't expect to. But anyways, I'm not actually.
But
what
if the land impacts the assets you do hold? I mean, I feel like that's a pretty narrow-sided just kind of take there, because as a holder of Jewel, the Gen 0 summoning rate could impact me regardless of whether I hold Gen 0s. Because if the game never gets to a point where it takes off because of this hero inflation problem, that impacts me very directly as a Jewel, S Jewel, C Jewel holder.
How so?
Because that's the asset that defines the game. That's the staking asset for the power-ups for your heroes. That is the one that really is, tied to the health of the game itself, according to the devs. And if I have something that's impacting the health of the game itself, it doesn't matter if it's land or Gen 0s. It impacts me as a Jewel holder.
That's fine. I mean, but we're talking about changing somebody else's NFT. I just don't. I don't agree. I mean, yeah, okay, it does. Yeah. Everything impacts you, sure. Like if somebody dumps, buys up all the tiers and makes it go up a bunch, that impacts you, so you can't summon eggs. But I mean, it's a free market. Like, yeah, everything is interconnected. Everything, connects up. But we're talking about changing an NFT here. That's what I say is a big deal in terms of why they need everybody on board. And what I was kind of saying about why I think this is bad timing is that losing, any amount of players like now hurts so much more than in the future.
Why? I feel like losing now, if I lose 20% of my players now, that is way less damage.
I think it's a disaster.
20% in a year.
I think it's a disaster. I think it has I mean, I don't want to be like alarmist or crazy here, but I think it has a real potential to do, snowball and, people
I have a feeling that that's not true, because if this community could snowball outside sentiment, this game would already be popular.
There's a limit to everything, man. Everybody's just absorbing all these tokens. Like these however many 100 players we got, we're just absorbing and absorbing and absorbing. And like I just think, a lot of people are on edge. I think that's what we've seen. And I don't think you make a big change like this, a controversial change, when people are on edge. Like I think, as someone who's been a gamer for 25 years now and seen kind of everything, just I've seen it too many times. Just people just get emotional, irrational. Like you can't even convince them. Like this. I understand enough economics that if supply goes down, demand goes up. I get it, but like you do something like this and you don't have everybody on board, like it's just dangerous to me. I think it's dangerous.
Well, I don't think they would do something like this without getting at least a pretty significant amount of buy-in. So if say they did get like some significant voting, like say let's even put it like 90% of all S Joule and C Joule that votes, say that they get some overwhelming result like that in favor of it, would that impact your opinion at all?
Yes.
It doesn't look like they're going to, right?
Yes. Yeah, that would impact my opinion. But yeah, I don't want to, they haven't given us any parameters.
Right. And I agree. And
for all I know, if they take a 70-30, 60-40, I mean, you've just pissed off 40% of your players. Like,
right, like the
most enfranchised players where all their tokens have gone down except for their Gen Zeros. And now you're like, hey, it's probably going to be fine because here's a supply and demand chart from Macro 301. And you might remember it from college. And it'll probably be fine. So like why don't you take on that for the good of the team? I just don't think that's going to fly. If 30% are opposed to it, like if they can come up with a good thing, but I don't know why we're spending time, like developing some sort of great plan on this, right now. Like I said, I want to move forward. This feels like moving back to me.
Yeah, okay, and I totally get you on that aspect of it. Yeah, and I really do think like our opinions are not so divergent as they seem, because I agree. It all just comes down to like, what is the perceived problem? What is the problem that they're trying to address by this? I don't really understand that. And how is this going to address the perceived problem, right? And if those don't line up well enough for me, then I'm going to definitely vote no on any future proposal. But I voted on yes on this one because I want to know what the problem looks like.
I do too, but they don't need a vote for just to tell us something. Like that's what I don't like. I think it's kind of trying to. I don't know.
Okay, I mean, I don't know. I feel like imagine if they'd gotten like a 90% no. Do you think they would even bother telling us? I wouldn't want them to if they'd gotten a 90% no. I don't know. I think this is a pretty common kind of governance structure in several DAOs I've seen, and in just real life agencies I've seen, where before an agency does something, they submit a request for comment, or before even like doing that request for comment, they like just seek feedback from the people who could be involved before even putting together anything, because that initial round of feedback is often very influential in shaping the thing that they put together, from being like it gets a lot of the shitty ideas that are easily avoided by asking someone out of the way. And I kind of think that maybe having it, maybe it's just kind of the infrastructure of how they had this vote site set up. I would have much preferred something where it was kind of like a comment thing, and maybe you could assign the comment with your wallet just to like affirm, and if they wanted to track stats on how like committed you were to the game based on your S Joule holdings or your Hero holdings, like that would be useful. But maybe just not have it framed that way. Excuse me, instead of a vote would have been more palatable.
So I have a very succinct answer to that. Game design is not decentralized. Game design is not a thing. We cannot decentralize game design. You cannot have everybody's opinion on fundamental parts. There's a reason we're playing this game. There's a reason that we're playing this game. That's because Hubert Cumberdale designed this awesome summoning and hero thing.
But he's the one who wants to change it, though. So
I understand that.
And I have a more fundamental question: do you think the team that couldn't even list the correct wallet address for their initial liquidity pool is going to be the team that did it perfectly right the first time on a complex economic system like summoning?
Probably not, but they've
But
tweaked it
you want
once
to
but no, they've tweaked it once by adding dark summons.
well, so I don't really. I also really dislike your
That
characterization of adding
no,
dark summonings as a tweak.
that was direct response to community feedback that about hero inflation. That's how they framed it. That's how they said it. No, they did. No, I was listening. Isn't it AMA?
Yeah, I know. But like, really though, that's a feature that like people just wanted added because
Yeah,
like you
it's
had a
great.
bunch of heroes that just were totally useless according to people at the time. And I don't know. I feel like you can't characterize every single time they add a feature just because it impacts somebody, because that would mean that you don't want them to add any features at all, which is not. I don't think that's a position you're taking.
Oh no, just
Right.
the opposite.
Right. So you want to.
But
So
this is subtractive. What we're talking about. This is nerfing basically a card.
Well, that I get.
An
That I
NFT.
get. But when you bring in dark summoning, I feel like you're when you're saying that's
I'm
one
saying
thing.
that was a significant change that they made based on community feedback. On hero things. I feel like this is just already as good as it's going to get. Personally.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason people summon so much is because it's profitable to summon right now with power tokens the way they are, with just basically people just listing stuff too low. The Gen 1 market has, adjusted. I have warriors and knights up there for 400 that sell regularly. If they got anything going for them, 350 at the floor. Like these the market is adjusting. It's just not adjusting, as quickly as, if it wasn't profitable, people wouldn't do it. If it wasn't fun, people wouldn't do it. And I have no problem with people just, spamming it if it's profitable and fun. And we've developed, enough automation to make it logistically, feasible for people. And I just don't think it's that big of a problem. And, I just want to move forward.
I don't think people would stop spamming it, and I don't think this change would be intended to stop people from spamming it. I think they would have to spam higher gen heroes, and they would have fewer Gen 1 10 of 10s available to do it. They would do that. I don't think they would stop the spamming though, and I don't think it would be intended to.
I think that's the intention, but I mean, it's all about profitability.
I also listened to the last AMA. I also listened to the last AMA and felt like they gave us no update on this. You came out with the exact opposite reaction. I'm just like, no,
I know we're in the dark. That's why. That's why I was annoyed the first time around on this, and I thought I was going to be. I don't know. I thought I was going to be annoyed the second time around because it's like, here we go again. And there's Gander. He actually DM'd me my thoughts the first time around.
Oh, you told them to you?
What's that?
I'm kidding. I said, oh, he told them to you? It's a joke.
Okay, gotcha. Basically, my take the first time around is why are they putting anything up to a vote that they might have to strike down? Because ultimately, Hubert's going to need to decide if this was good. This was before we knew he was behind it, which is why it makes more sense and why it's more interesting now. But my take was, why is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth it to make the hero environment 10% better, 20% better? If nerds are just gonna rage, dude, about this. Like, we hate change. That's why I've quit. Like, most every game that I've quit is just like I was at my edge. Okay, Magic the Gathering. The second time I had two big stints of playing. The first time was a little different because paper Magic is kind of like Web3 because you can just sell and get money. But the second time was Arena, where I put all this time, like from the beta, like played every single day, did my quests every single day, was super just indoctrinated. And like just one day I just quit and never logged on again. Just basically completely flushed it all just because I didn't like all the changes they were making. They just announced this new format and all these new like modes and stuff. And I was just like, I can't do it anymore. That's basically how, people just get to their end and then there's like some change. And like nerds don't deal well with that. So I think it's just disruptive for no reason. Like if there was I mean, like the Jewel vote, tokenomics, that was disruptive. Like there's a lot of locked Jewel holders that were pissed, still pissed. I get it.
Yeah.
But it was an existential threat to the game. Like 15-cent Jewel is not on the cards if that vote didn't go through. Like it just wasn't. So like, if we're going to do something disruptive, I want it to be like an existential threat. And I do think it's disruptive to do something like that. and I just don't think I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think it would be worth it now at this point? See, because we got Mellow Green Giant here saying that he also thinks it's time to move forward. But you said you wanted to see the information on what they thought was the actual problem. Like you would have wanted to see that. Do you think that they had their chance to give us that? The community voted no, we don't even want to see it. And now that you don't even think they should put any information together?
I mean, if they were going to do it, I don't know. It's just kind of weird to vote to see if you want to talk about something.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
I guess if you frame it like that, I'm just gonna vote no, because that's just weird, and I don't know. It's just kind of if you got something to say, say it.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I think I generally disagree. Just on like when people are making big changes like this, it's better to see like, hey, temperature checks are not like a crazy thing in my opinion, and they're very common. And it's just kind of like, is it worth having a discussion even? But and also, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's any problem with the timing. Honestly, I don't think this game's going to get any momentum whatsoever until there is a gameplay combat system that's out. Like I've heard people saying that level 10 profession quests, green eggs, and pet utility are going to do it, and I've never believed that. I don't think that those are going to generate any outside hype or momentum in the game, because that's not something that would draw in a new player. Like, oh, you could do the level 10 quest now. Cool, right? It's like, oh, it's still just click a button on a hero for a couple seconds, right? I don't think that's going to do anything to really draw someone in. You can't really have this momentum built on a game that doesn't have any gameplay or like any prospect of gameplay in the near future. And I just really, yeah. So I think I'm coming at it from a very different angle about the state of the community. And like I really don't think there was much momentum to kill at this point. I think that right now they're just putting down the technical layer that they've been trying to build for the last year and a half to actually do the things that they've wanted to do. And
well, yeah, I think momentum could build if they start doing the things they want to do.
Right. And so
I think you get a lot of people back. Like, it's easy to get people back that have spent the time to learn this game and left for whatever reason last 6 months, just because it was just too long. It was just too much. I mean, we've had over a year of basically pre-gaming. That's what we're doing. We're pre-gaming, and it's just a lot to kind of just go through the ebbs and flows, do all the rotations as much you can. I enjoy it because I just have that kind of personality, but I totally get that people just bailed out 6 months ago. But I think they come back if we could start delivering, like, hey, we did the thing. Finally, DeFi Kingdoms, next, equipment, next, guilds, lands, travel. Like, if that's what was holding us back was diamond contracts, like, I think you can get a lot of people back just people that gave up because it was just always soon. It was always, hey, next month, hey, always this way, always this. I think you can get a lot of people back. In terms of new players, maybe not, probably not until actual PvP comes out. But like, I think you can retain a lot of people that just lost hope. If you move forward and, like, we're not just, I don't know how to say, like, if you were to take them at face value, like, the diamond contract thing is what's stopping them from doing a bunch of the other things that we would want. Because I agree, if level 10 quests are just, your guy gets more XP and catches more fish, I mean, that just makes your guy more, get higher level and fish worth less. It's not that exciting to me. But pets are fun. I mean, I view pets as fun. I've been enjoying them. I went through, actually had today off, and went through and made a spreadsheet of my pets and tried to link them to some guys. And I actually did link a few and got the duels running on Helper again with my mythics and legendaries on my good PvP heroes. So that's been fun. And I think it's good. I think it's just, I think you could totally get momentum from this.
Okay, that's fair. I hadn't really considered the old players coming back angle, because to me they're like even harder to convince than an actual new player. So, but I actually do. I do think your point is well taken though on this though, because you are right. that is kind of like the exception to my general rule about them being harder than a new player. I do think you were right about that. They could have generated some momentum on this, 100%. Really quick, not responding to you at all with this one. I do want to respond to this comment below me. I don't know who you are, Bullish Brovia, but I did not mean to sound defeated, nor do I feel defeated. I just dumped $1,000 into Jewel a couple of weeks ago, which is probably down to $700 worth-ish now. But I don't care, because I'm here for the super long term on this game. I love it. I just have a very realistic, in my opinion, sense of whether or not someone from the outside is going to be interested in an aspect of a video game, because I've done a lot of trying to convince people to play games with me over time. And trust me, pet utility, while awesome if you're playing the game, that's not what's going to convince people on the outside. And I never had any sense that it would. That's all I was saying by that.
No,
Realism, not defeatism. Okay, but this is good. I like everything you're saying, and honestly, I don't think there's a way that I would want to hear more, because I'm tied into the economic side of it, and like, if there's just too many heroes in the game for like the items to actually have the level of scarcity we need in just like 3 years, like, I really want to address that problem right now while the community is small, while buy-in is easy to obtain on a relative scale. And yes, I agree with everything you said. Some people are going to nerd rage quit, and shit on the game forever. And if I view it in the most pessimistic way, that's just those few people. They're yeah, it sucks for them, but there's going to be way more newcomers in the future because of this change. And the fact that they disagree with it, like, if it does come down to a vote, I agree with you that I wouldn't want something like just Kingdom Studios, czar of the economy, Jerome Powell's it. I wouldn't want that. I would want to see it with a vote that has a much higher than a 50% margin for success. Like, even as high as 80%, I think would be reasonable. And that's only if I agree that there is a problem. I'm not convinced that there is one yet. But I'm open to being convinced. I think that maybe their chance to convince people is already faded because they botched the messaging. Grady will be the first one to tell you that the DeFi Kingdoms team has botched messaging in the past. So, if that's the case, then that's the case. I wouldn't force it.
I did peek in on the Discord yesterday, earlier today, just kind of seeing where it was at. And Bolon did say something to the tune of, we are accomplishing something here. We are learning. We are discussing it in this channel, which is, so I hope that they're, taking what people are saying, because there's a lot of very thoughtful people that wrote, quite, eloquent and thoughtful, blurbs about what they thought. So, they kind of tricked us into, even if the vote says no 60%, we already did talk about it.
Right.
A lot. So they kind of did win, even if they lost like the vote.
Those bastards.
So like, they talked about, they got a lot of information. I just hope that they, realize, I don't know, I hope they learned something other than people were yelling at Bolon for too much, because obviously people kind of shut down. I think he took it all in, and I think that's a good mouthpiece to get back to the team about what really matters, and what what you were saying about the problem with heroes. It all gets fixed by more players.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there is a finite a number of heroes that can build. Token price goes up. It's no longer profitable to summon Gen 3s, whatever. That helps. Token price goes up. There's more players. Now everybody's got more heroes, and they get spread out more. All this goes away, with any sort of positive, move. That's what I think, is kind of the thought. Like, you can either fix this by addition of players or subtraction of cooldowns of heroes. And I think, obviously we always want more players, and that's been a tricky thing in this environment. But, like I said, I think if you could start rattling stuff off, man, if guilds have, the fire, we had a lot of fire months ago with guilds and S Jewel and all this, we had all this momentum, And then apparently, you know, the diamond contracts took 3 months to figure out, which, you know,
See,
I don't even
where do you,
understand it. So whatever.
where did we get all this momentum a few months ago? Are you just referring to like the fact that the price went like back up to 20 for a little bit and a little
I
higher?
mean, everybody was forming guilds. We were having, you know, we're still having streams every night, which is great. That's, you know, the core people are still carrying this momentum. But like, yeah, price. People were locking Jewel and getting all
Yeah,
fired up
yeah. Okay.
with the power ups, the S Jewel, the you know the VE tokenomics were awesome. Just yeah, it was just a lot of momentum, and then just 3 months go by. That's
Yeah, no,
really what it is.
I do think
Like,
that's fair. But yeah, I think everything you're saying there is correct. And like, you know, I am kind of taking the team at face value here in my faith because they put so much weight into this diamond contracts issue. And it does really sound like it allows them to be so much more flexible with adding stuff to various contracts. And I'm hoping that it does translate into faster um, feature releases because that seems to be like the promise, right? And you know, I would really like to see them deliver on that rather than focus on the
yeah,
summoning
I don't
cooldown
want
right
to.
now.
Why do we want to put any development time into, you know, that kind of hero inflation solve
Right.
that's subtractive when we can put all that development time into something additive, which will,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
the momentum going again. That's my thought.
Yeah, you know, I love your subtractive additive, dichotomy there because I don't know if you watched that Sergeant Filthy stream that they had the day after they first mentioned it, but that was basically my point. Is like, why would you address this problem in a way that is like fun, net negative on fun, instead of a way that's net additive and fun by adding some feature that allows people to remove heroes from the economy in a way that makes sense with the lore. So
So
yeah,
let's go. Level 10 quests, pet
yeah.
utility. Everybody's got to figure out what pets are going where, who's going to feed what. You know,
Who's going to
probably.
feed what? Premium treats all the way. I'm an XP maxi. It could be like 0.5%, and it could and provide less ratio to the normal treats, and I would still do it.
Yep. I went ahead and got the power up.
Are you? So you're also a power up grabber. I felt like none of the people I've talked to have even gotten the power up, and I was like, yes, instant. That's one of the first ones. Where I was like, yep, must have whole wallet. Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, if you have a wallet, it's a little complicated for me because when the S Jewel and C Jewel dynamic came out, like my main account, my Bob Nothing account with
Oh,
my Gen Zeros on it is on a hardware wallet.
oh yeah.
So
Okay.
guess where all my heroes are? Not on a hardware wallet because
Yeah. Yeah. Because
because
you mentioned helper.
Helper. I'm very reliant on Helper. There's just not nearly enough time in the day to live without it. So basically, I had to, I basically locked uh, 10, 12,000 Jewel on my hardware wallet on both realms to try to win the raffles, and just because I was comfortable with that. And then I had to just make a new stack on my hot wallet, that Helper wallet. There we go.
Yep, I had to do something relatively similar. I dumped most of my jewel into a C jewel and S jewel, and then shortly thereafter got helper. And now it's like a lot of my stuff is like on my main crypto, my main crypto wallet of the time, but none of it is on the helper wallet. I've built back up though. I've built back up. That was part of that buy I mentioned earlier a couple weeks ago.
But yeah, I don't really look at it like, spending anything. It's
It's
just,
it's
it's
not.
locking. So, it makes a return. I've got, I guess 1,000 on each realm now, just to kind of do my XP boost for the heroes I want XP boost, and to get the pet feeding, and yeah, premium treats all day.
Yep. Premium treats all day. I'm so glad you're a disciple on that.
Oh yeah. 2%.
It's so worth it. It's so
My
worth it.
empire for 2%.
I had no rationale to support it. And I was actually talking to Zellies from DFK Helper, and he was like, "Why do you want to do premium pet treats? Like, why do you want to do that?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm just like an XP whore. I would do anything for that sweet XP. There's no economic rationale behind it." And he went and did some quick math, and he's like, "Well, you know what? 1 week of XP would be this many stam pots." And comparing the price that way, you're definitely coming up in the green. So maybe it does make sense. And I'm like, all right, cool. I have a perspective now where it makes sense. It is cheaper than a week's worth of stand pots.
Yeah, I mean, and these these treats are so cheap, in my opinion. I think they probably could have pushed it a little. I think maybe, I don't know. That's an interesting, that's where, that's a game design, decision that I just trust Hubert just blindly on that. Yeah, I think it's a little cheap, but I also think he's really, really good at this stuff. So like, that's what I mean. We don't want to decentralize game design. We want to let the guy who's done this much, let him cook.
Yeah, let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. Totally with you on that. Yeah, and I actually agree. I thought they were a bit cheaper than I expected to, especially, I don't know. I basically just ended up throwing most of my fish into it right now. And I don't really buy anything off the market because I'm that kind of a player. I built a floor army because I wanted to just like get enough stuff every day to do whatever I wanted to do that day, which is typically how it goes. And, on that note, I will begin to present my Gen 0 summon, which was, my crystals were cracked while I was at work, thanks to my friend Zellies over at DFK Helper.
Nice.
DFK Helper. Where the shit is my... what? There we go. There we go. It's just doing that thing again.
I cracked 3 today and got 3 rogues, so hopefully you do better.
Well, I am the daily rug master, so it should be a rug. Oh, my MetaMask timed out. I'm so sad. But yeah, I was at work today. I was like, I got to do my Gen 0 summon at lunch. You come in, it's already done. How nice is that?
That's pretty nice.
I love the automation. What are your thoughts on automation in general? Do you think it's a
love it?
I love it. Yeah,
love it.
Any expansion? Oh, I'm on the wrong realm.
Have
you heard complaints about it from?
Yes,
I guess is my question. What
kind
of things have you heard?
Those people are wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, man. It's just like if we didn't have helper, if we didn't have public automation, it would just the game would be totally different and it would be a lot worse.
Do you think it's something that should be incorporated directly into like the game?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of, like I was kind of starting to go down this rabbit hole, like about whether it's a problem within hero inflation. It's definitely a problem for some players, like players who just aren't comfortable with automation, which is completely legitimate. Like you do have to, do stuff with your private keys to get it to work. Like it's completely legitimate to feel that way. And those people, it's a problem for them. Like, and the dark summoning is a problem for some people, like hero inflation of super premium things. Like that's kind of an interesting thing to talk about too. And there's just not a solution to every problem. Like, I don't know. The market is just dynamic.
Yep.
You get paid for being versatile and being able to change with, what matters now, as opposed to what mattered 6 months ago, as opposed to what mattered a year ago.
I do agree. That is one of the things that has kept this game very engaging for me, is like being able to just
very dynamic.
Yeah. And, it's just once I realized how cheap it was to make new heroes, it's like, I want a shitload of these, man, because they're awesome. What's mind blowing? You're in ADFK guild, right? That's the thing. I'm saying that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, if Tad Aphex is also in that one, right? You guys are all the homies.
Yeah.
With that's all the big brains are. Yeah, I feel like his research recently was crazy. I'm surprised that didn't draw in more of the like old player case. Now that you've like brought them to my memory with your comment earlier, like, dude, 4 heroes can just get you a return so quickly. Why not just have them working? It's crazy. Oh, all right. So I had the suspense build up, but Onion Fern Flare here. I know there's
cool
no
wings,
but I prefer not to say it. Yeah, the wing mutation, very nice. Hey, Aphex told me this one, so I'm really happy about it. Or he told me this pair.
Right?
So,
yeah.
So I'm putting him to good work. This guy, he's gonna be doing. Oh, nice. I got the foraging mutation, like not mutation, but recessive fill or whatever it is. That's rare. Normally I get a miner or a gardener. Wow, this is awesome.
And the advanced.
Yeah, and I got the exhaust.
Exhaust, yep.
Yeah, I'm actually honestly more excited about the crystal wings than I am about the exhaust. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean,
Okay.
exhaust is very good, I think, for like selling to someone who wants to try
So
to make elite abilities, but in itself, it's not very exciting to me.
so are you keeping your Gen 1s and trying to make bards and stuff? Or
Um,
do you sell? Because
I've been doing a mix. I've sold a few. I've tried to sell a mythic that I got, and it hasn't sold yet because I've been listing it too high. Apparently, says the market. But then I've also I've traded a few with sticks actually, so that we can have summoning pairs.
full blown sticks.
Yeah, full blown sticks. FBS, full
Nice.
blown sticks. Not just myself.
Cool. At what point do you gain in popularity and clout to overtake the Styx name? Have you thought about that?
Well, so it was like immediate.
Yeah.
So I just tell him that I'm doing brand
So,
awareness for his brand, and that's worked so far. He
uh-huh.
hasn't decided to kill the bloater.
Oh, interesting. That's one way
Yeah,
to look at it.
well,
He
that's
must
me. I'm the bloater.
he
I'm
must be your
actually this
boss or
guy.
something.
Yeah.
He is?
No. He's my boss.
Oh,
Yeah. In
okay.
this fake fantasy world that I've created, where I am Styx intern. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. No, he's my DFK boss. Remember, I used to help him manage his heroes before he got helper. Actually, that's my official line on that.
Okay, cool.
He had me, running his quests. He'd send heroes to my wallets. He actually literally was that guy who sent me his private keys. So I just am his intern. And, once he makes it big, I'm going to be out of here to the Bahamas ASAP. Or maybe in this country that doesn't extradite. Thanks for the heads up there, Sam.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Do you? All right. I had something else I wanted to pick your brain on. Let me pull up my notes app here because I thought about it. Oh, okay. So one thing that I've really loved in Mythic Squad, and I was wondering if you feel the same thing in ADFK, is that it's been the guilds in this game have been the source of really great bear market buddies who I think that's the real way to fight capitulation is I think a lot of the people out there capitulating maybe are they don't have a crypto person that they get to talk to on the regularly or I don't know, because I feel like most of the people I know who have someone like that really have an easier time staying in and not getting defeated, and also not overcommitting either, which is another part of it. So what are your thoughts? Have you found DFK is a great source for bear market buddies?
Absolutely. Like, I can tell you almost without a shadow of doubt, I wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for, enjoying the community. I started off kind of just, I didn't really understand Discord that much. I haven't been in crypto that long, by the way. I'm kind of, this is my first cycle. So
Same.
2021. So like 6 months before. But anyways, I kind of was of the opinion, by you might guess by my name and my kind of my Twitter profile and my stuff, like I was kind of very standoffish in terms of not wanting to give or receive any kind of personal information. I'm still kind of like that, but just like growing once I actually got over that and kind of like started, conversing with people and people started DMing me. I think Franz was one of the first people to like DM me and like talk to me just out of the blue because I was trying to, kind of get in on the Fight Club community. That's how I ended up in DFK, because I really liked Fight Club and still do.
Cool.
And is really on the getting into that and talking to people kind of with that. So I really warmed up to it, and I never thought I would be like that kind of a crypto guy. I guess I thought I was just gonna just sit out here in the void and do my own thing and just pass in the night. But no, I reversed, pivot on that 100%. And it's been great in terms of the bear market. It's been, like I said, I wouldn't be here, if I hadn't kind of opened up and allowed that and had people reach out to me and be just super cool. And yeah, I'm very grateful for it. And, like I said, I mean, that's what I was saying about when we had our momentum months ago. That's when kind of the guilds were really picking up. And it's still going. We've had a lot of talks, in ADFK Guild all week, basically about various stuff like we usually do. But it's a little different. It's a little bit of a, it's kind of just, it's just time. Just time kind of wears on you, like without the thing, that we've been all kind of holding out for. It's just time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. The
The
time
people
does
help a
wear
lot.
out. Yeah, people like minimize the impact of time, but don't take it away completely. So how would someone go about joining the ADFK Guild? Is there a special thing? Do you just join the Discord? Do you have to pay a monthly subscription to friends?
Uh,
Do you not
I'm not
know?
really the person to ask, but no, it's not a monthly subscription.
Yeah, that was. I was hoping that was a joke. So that's good.
No, the ADFK site is like a kind of a monthly subscription thing,
Oh, right, for the
but that's for the
tools. Yeah,
premium
that's
site. Yeah,
different. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But no, the guild. I think the way they're doing it is they have like an application, and you just pay a one-time fee of some floor heroes to donate to the guild wallet, because they have a guild wallet that's just churning. It's embodying with Helper, I think. So
Cool.
they're going to use that to kind of just generate, giveaways and guild stuff in the future. So yeah, you basically donate to that. I think there's a little bit of jewel, like 100 or something like that. It's not that much, but it's nothing crazy.
So would it be possible for someone to be a member of two guilds, like dual citizenship? Would that be allowed? Do you think? Do you think someone would kick me out if I tried to do that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not asking you because
I mean,
for an
it's
official
basically
answer here.
it's just a social guild right now, so I'm guessing no. But I
As
mean,
long as I cough up my
I mean,
floors heroes, right?
at a certain point, once the PvP stuff is live,
Well, yeah,
it's going to be kind of competitive, where you don't really want to be,
sharing.
you know, doing that. But right now, it's all social, so I don't
Yeah, I
know.
just want to tap into the big brains. I hear you. I hear Tad. I hear people talk about Franz, and I don't really know where to watch him if he's on any weekly show or something. Never heard his name before.
Right?
But Franz, maybe Franz, like bronze. That's how I've heard
He,
he likes it pronounced.
okay.
Did I cut you off there? I thought you were going to say
Nope.
something. No. Okay. Yeah. Good. But yeah. All right. Well, good. I agree with everything you're saying about the bear market buddies. I got no other topics besides, when do you think we're going to get a combat testing grounds update, and what class are you most excited to see in the combat testing grounds?
I mean, I've been waiting on Monk. Like
Yeah.
that Monk and Bard are my favorite two classes from playing a gazillion hours of Pathfinder. So those I'm really excited about Monk. But like I've always been kind of a proponent of just get something out, even if we move from pre-alpha to alpha, where it's just like the Serendale 8 basic classes, and it's the format now where you don't have the complicated character builds. You just kind of pick one skill every level, which is not how it's going to be down the road. But like even if you get out something like that, like and let people play for low to no stakes, I think that would be a smart thing to do. But it's not up to me. And I mean, we haven't really heard that much from him lately, right? I mean, we saw the video. I saw the video yesterday. Did you see it?
What video?
From Wisdom Labs.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Of
With
the game?
Risen. Yeah, Risen went to Wisdom Labs in Minnesota.
Yeah. I watched a minute of it this morning, and then I got a work call, and I haven't been able to go back.
Hung out with Hubert. Hubert was there, so they're working on something in person, which is cool.
That is cool. All right.
So, but yeah, I guess they're gearing up for something, because it's been a minute, right?
Right. I mean, it is May. It's getting to be about summertime.
I think I mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel
yeah.
like we got to be close to something. I'm hoping we're close to something big, right? I'd rather them just release all of PvE and all of PvP with an update that comes out right after we turn off this show. That would be what would make me happiest right now.
Well,
do you think there's a shot?
No, I don't. Might get level 10s tonight, but
I can check on that. We can check on that.
I just did. We got not a patch.
Doesn't look like it. Yeah.
Because last time when they released the green eggs, I was asleep. It was at like 11. It was like an hour from now or less.
Yeah. No, last time actually it was at like 9 or like 8:45 because it came out just after I stopped streaming, which was great. I loved that personally.
Yeah. I just went
Loved
to
that for
sleep.
my
So
content.
that sucks. So I might do that again tonight, but I don't know.
Why not? I just take a look at the
no
utility
rush.
page. There's no way anything's coming out today. Like they would have updated it.
Well, I'd say they're running a little late then.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's take a gander here. All right.
Let's quit talking about voting and stuff and get at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I could do anything other than talk about stuff, I would do it.
No, talking about.
Well, that's generally most of the stuff I'm talking about. But yeah, we're still no progress at all. We're still stuck in Solidity.
Dang.
So maybe they're having a harder time than anticipated with these level 10 quests. Maybe the diamonds aren't as shiny as they thought. I hope that's not the case. I hope they are very shiny, lustrous diamonds sparkling in the nighttime. But we're gonna find out. I think I wanted to talk about mining quests. We don't even have these quests to come out for any point of reference. It's going to be kind of useless conversation.
I mean, I always thought there would be new items in these quests, but apparently they've said or people know that it's not happening. So I don't know. I kind of missed that, but
yeah, I also thought there would be. I was on the same page as you. I saw that you get on that with someone on Twitter or something. Maybe you just said it to me in a DM. I don't know.
But in terms of mining, I mean, I think that would be cool to like kick off like the base layer of crafting with mining level 10s, getting ore.
Right. Yeah, precisely. I think that they got to introduce ore.
Iron ore, copper, whatever. And then eventually, the base layer of crafting is take it to a crafter, either on some land or in some some NPC kind of on the market or whatever, and turn ore into ingots. And then down the road, you turn ingots into, weapons and armor.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be awesome. We could get some sort of, tier of metals because we're going to need a lot of metals for armor and for weapons. We're going to need gold, maybe, silver, maybe copper or whatever for shitty jewelry. But they've released the kind of framework for how the equipment's going to work. Not that they can't always change that and add in, 5 other things like, a helmet, paladrons, gauntlets, leggings.
Paladrons. Yeah.
Did I say it right? I forgot.
I don't know. I thought you said paladins.
The shoulder things.
Yeah, I've always said pauldrons, but I've only ever.
Oh yeah, I think I said it wrong. I don't think it was an I in it.
Yeah. It's all good. I really can't wait for the cod piece armor. If they release this game without cod pieces, then like rug, in my opinion.
But yeah,
preferably Dragon Warrior 3 style cod pieces. Yeah, that's an ancient 2D game for anyone unfamiliar. It was on the Game Boy Color. Probably the source of a lot of my nostalgia with DFK, I'm not going to lie.
But yeah, I think that would be a cool system if they relied on the mining quests to introduce that kind of stuff. And then you had kind of resources like, wood and other stuff, leather on land. And then you could have just basically the raw resources that you turn into other stuff. And, you could start with ore. And maybe if you can't even do anything with it, you just kind of, whatever. Yeah. I think that would be cool. And then, level 20 mining quests, adamantine, mithril, something cool. Yeah. Once you get up there, by level, you can introduce one new kind of thing and kind of just iterate on it.
I'm hoping at 20 they introduce like iron. Okay. They start with like tin and copper.
Start with kind something
of Valheim
crappy.
Style. Yeah, well, it's just level 20 is still pretty low in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, something like that would be really cool, I think, to just make it more and more complex, kind of as you think. But
so, what do you think are the odds that our miners bring back bronze?
I don't know.
I hope it's low. I hope our miners bring back copper and tin and have to make bronze, the good old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you bring back bronze.
Yeah, no, that was the. I remember. I mean, I would have loved that response, honestly.
Yeah, I had to think back to my Minecraft days. Like it's you had to combine 2 things to get that.
Smelting, an unfortunate smelting accident. Well, Bob, we are at the top of the hour. That is my unofficial cutoff time. Do you have anything else that you want to address the community on. All 16 of us, 17 counting me.
We got 173 comments. How about that?
That's pretty nice.
They're fired up.
Yeah.
I wasn't reading, but
that's all right. You missed some good chatter. I'm not gonna lie. Most of it very supportive of your opinions early on, by the way. I will throw that out there. Everyone really liked what you had to say.
That's cool. I mean, like, I don't, this is, I don't know, as negative as you'll hear me, and it's not even negative. It's just kind of neutral, just kind of disagreement, and kind of a very small thing in the large scheme of things. But I remain, completely, what's the word? Wound up in this game. I just think I'm really excited. It's, I don't know. I think about it a lot when I'm out walking the dogs or whatever. And I'm happy to, get the opportunity to come on here with you and whoever else to just kind of have a time to chat about stuff that I've been thinking about. So
yeah,
I appreciate you having me. I hope people enjoy it and just take it as kind of, just one man opinion.
Well, I'm happy to have you on my platform. It makes it easier for me to go pull the clips from the video for my songs if I was there when you actually said the fun things I want to take. One last thing before we sign off is that I want you to describe for me what's going on here in your PFP.
Oh, that's a magic card.
Okay, that's a magic card. Okay,
that's a card.
Got it.
So that's this gnarly dude. It's from the set Ice Age back in 1995.
Nice.
When young Bob was in middle school, so I'm pretty old. But yeah, that was my favorite. That was my favorite card. It's this pretty gnarly, like scarified dude out there with no shirt doing some kind of seance. It's a card called Demonic Consultation. So it's
very cool.
It's the coolest magic card ever printed.
I was wondering if it was like a satyr or some kind of like demonic like hybrid creature, because I couldn't tell with the legs if they were pants or like.
No, he's like just chilling there.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it makes sense.
Summoning demons.
I love it. Well, all right. Well, thank you to everyone for coming. Thank you to Bob for summoning some demons on the show, and we appreciate you coming out and listening. And to everyone who's listening later on, not live, appreciate you listening. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, bell button. Listen to Grady Stream. Listen to Mythic Squad. Go join ADFK. Go join Mythic Squad, and we're gonna talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye, y'all.